Namaskar. I am Dr. Aarti Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Banaras Hindu University. I welcome you once again in this 12-week course titled History of Science and Technology in Ancient India from Harappan Civilization to 7th century CE. Today we are going to discuss Module 3, Lecture 2. The title of Module 3 is Chalcolithic Cultures and Copper Hoard Culture, and the title of Lecture 2 is Kayatha Chalcolithic Culture. The first learning objective of this topic is to know about the different cultural phase of Kayatha culture. The second learning objective is to discuss about the ceramic tradition of this culture, and the third learning objective is to understand the settlement pattern of Kayatha culture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss these subtopic, which is Kayatha discovery and excavation, chronology and cultural phase, ceramic culture, settlement pattern, artifacts, agriculture and domestication. The Kayatha culture represents one of the earliest Chalcolithic culture of central India, dated to approximately 2400 to 2000 BCE. It is named after the type site Kayatha located near Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. This culture is characterized by the use of copper tools alongside stone implements. It marks the beginning of a more organized rural lifestyle with evidence of agriculture, animal domestication and permanent settlements. The inhabitants lived in mud structure, produced handmade and wheel made pottery and engaged in early forms of craft production such as bead making and copper metallurgy. Kayatha culture holds significance for its role in the early development of metal use and agricultural practices in the Malwa region, predating and influencing later cultures such as Ahar, Malwa and Zorbe. Kayatha discovery and excavation. Kayatha identified with the ancient settlement of Kapithak is situated about 60 miles east of Ujjain and is traditionally believed to be the birthplace of the astronomer Varamihir. It lies on the right bank of the Choti Kali Sindh river, a tributary of the Chambal river. The archaeological importance of Kayatha was first recognized by V.S. Vakankar, who discovered the site in 1964 and led the initial excavation in 1965-66. A more extensive excavation followed in 1968, conducted jointly by Vikram University Ujjain and the Deccan College Pune. Following Kayatha, this culture was identified at over 40 sites in the Malwa region, including Eran, Dangwada, Avara, Manoti, Azadnagar, Mandsaur, Kotra, Runija and Gilauli Khera. This map shows the location of Kayatha. You can see here. This is very important that whenever you are doing study on Chalcolithic culture, then you have to be just identify the particular site, where the particular site situated in the state, which state they belongs to, as well as their location in the map. So, whenever you are going to study about the Chalcolithic culture, the particular sites of Chalcolithic culture, you should mention the site on the map, and this type of mentioning site on map is just not for the just the location of the site, it also shows the particular direction, the particular trade routes which is which is involving that particular sites in one to another, just their mutual understanding, their mutual import export system. You also trace the trade route on the basis of the location of that particular site on the map. So, you should study about the map, and their the situation on the map is also very important in archaeological studies. Chronology and cultural phase. Excavation revealed a five-fold cultural sequence providing insight into regional cultural development. The earliest phase, for instance the Kayatha culture, was recognized here for the first time. The period 1 is Kayatha culture, period 2 is Ahar culture, period 3 is Malwa culture, period 4 early historic period, and period 5 Shunga Kushan Gupta period. Most radiocarbon determinations place the Kayatha culture between 2002 100 800 BC 1800 BCE, making it one of the earliest Chalcolithic culture in central India. According to Alchin, the earliest phase of Kayatha culture may date back even further, between 2400 to 2100 BCE. Around 1800 BCE, there was a sudden break in habitation at Kayatha, and the site remained unoccupied for nearly a century. When settlement resumed, it reflects traits of the Ahar or Banas cultural phase. Now, ceramic culture. We already discussed that the ceramics, the pottery are very important in archaeology. The different kind of pottery shows the different kind of scientific technology of the contemporary period. The Kayatha culture, fine brown slipped ware, buff painted ware and combed ware, red ware is significant in Kayatha culture. So, one by one we are going to discuss it. First point is brown slipped ware, typically Kayatha ware. It is known as typical Kayatha ware. The main ceramic tradition of Kayatha culture is a fine, sturdy, wheel made pottery, indicating a high level of technological skill during the Chalcolithic period. Vessels are made from well navigated clay and have thin yet durable walls, reflecting fine craftsmanship. These ceramic are located with a thick slip of brown or reddish brown color, usually applied from the rim to the shoulder and sometimes extending down to the base. Over this slip, decorative linear design are painted using violet or deep red pigment, generally restricted to the upper portion of the vessel, especially near the rim and shoulder. Common vessel type include bowl and basin, globular vase with concave neck, large storage jar, matka, cooking pot, handi and trog, tasla, etc. Some shape such as the deep bowl with beaded rim and globular jar resemble form found the dark slipped ware of Soti Rajasthan, particularly in fabric and surface treatment, but differ in decoration. Certain Harappan influence have also been observed in Kayatha ceramics, suggesting either contact or convergent cultural development. Now, the term is for buff painted ware. The buff painted ware is made from well prepared clay, resulting in thin, finely crafted vessel. These pottery pieces are delicate yet sturdy, showcasing high quality craftsmanship in their construction. The vessel of these ware are characterized by a buff colored surface achieved through a wash of that specific color over the pottery. On top of this, red pigment is used to create various painted patterns. The red color is likely derived from hematite, with chunks of this mineral found at the Kayatha site. The decoration of ware featured a variety of geometric and linear designs such as loops, festoons, garland, diamond net pattern and oblique design. These designs are primarily painted on the upper portion of the vessel with a focus on the rim and neck. In the context of vessel form, the buff painted ware includes a limited variety of vessel shape, primarily lota, a small medium sized pot with a flaring mouth, concave neck jar both high and short, and basin. The buff painted ware exemplifies the Kayatha culture's unique blend and aesthetic decoration and practical utility, with the lota, a distinctive flaring mouth pot, emerging as a hallmark from the later become a characteristic household vessel across the Malwa region and much of Indian pottery tradition. The details about this ware have been highlighted by scholars such as M. K. Dhaulikar, H. D. Sankalia, and other prominent scholars who have documented the pottery types and decoration techniques, providing significant insight into the ceramic practice of the Kayatha culture. So, we already discussed the pottery, their design, their making style, the wheel from where they made, it is all the part of scientific studies. These kind of scientific studies can reveal the facts about the different trade routes regarding the pottery, different type of material from where the pottery made, if it is made by the local potters or it is traded from somewhere else. These kind of information we can get from the petrological analysis which is done on the pottery which reported from the different archaeological site. We also saw here that from Kayatha different shape of storage jar, bowl, basin, matka, handi were reported, which shows their daily lifestyle, which shows their daily engagement with this pottery. They use different kinds of storage jar, which shows their surplus production in terms to understand the agricultural progress of the Kayatha people. So, this kind of pottery, this kind of petrological analysis, this kind of scientific study is just the base for the proper understanding of any culture. Now, combed ware. The third important ceramic tradition of the Kayatha Chalcolithic culture is known as combed ware, characterized by its red surface and fine fabric. This ware generally does not have any slip or wash applied to it. The decoration on this pottery is created using a comb like tool which produce inside patterns across the surface. These patterns typically include wavy lines, zigzag, diamond shape and chevron motifs, most of which appear around the shoulder area of the vessel. The decorative motifs found on the combed ware of Kayatha bear a strong resemblance of those seen in the pre-Harappan levels of site like Amri, Kot Diji and Kalibangana. However, it is important to note that while the placement of decoration mainly around the shoulder is similar, the incision on Kayatha pottery are generally less deeper. Significantly, a potsherd with decoration identical to Kayatha combed ware has also been discovered at the site of Sothi in Rajasthan. This suggests potential cultural interaction or shared tradition between the Kayatha culture and other contemporary Chalcolithic culture of northwestern India. Possibly, they were interacted to each other through the trade system. It is very obvious because the old civilization, old culture were thoroughly engaged mutually trade system. Now, this picture shows a few potsherd is here, what we found from the different archaeological sites, and this is the drawing of that particular shape of the pottery. You can understand this is a part of the rim and this is the different shape. Now, the settlement pattern. Due to the limited extent of excavation at the lower level of Kayatha site, no complete house plan have been recovered. However, archaeological evidence suggests that the Kayatha people built both circular and rectangular houses. The structure were supported by wooden pots planted into the ground. The walls were made using bamboo or reed mat wattle, which were plastered with thick layers of mud daub to provide strength and insulation. The floors were also mud plastered, likely for comfort and hygiene. The roof were probably thatched, made from grass or other locally available natural material. Now, the terms to understand the artifacts: copper tool and metallurgy. The discovery of two finely made copper axe at Kayatha with sharp cutting edge and lenticular section clearly demonstrate that the people had already mastered advanced copper working techniques involving casting in molds. Unlike many Deccan and Central India counterpart who only hammered heated metal into shape. These axes were likely cast in terracotta or possibly even stone molds, and their hammered, thickened ends suggest an understanding of hafting methods, showing not only technical expertise but also an adaptation of tool or practical use. A fragmentary copper chisel was also recovered from the site, further supporting the notion that the Scythians had access to copper and used it for crafting tool, though the quantity remained limited due to scarcity of native metal sources. Now, copper ornaments. An impressive cache of 28 copper bangles was discovered, carefully stored in two pots. These bangles are solid, round in section and devoid of decorative terminals, indicating a focus on function and durability in ornaments. The quantity and preservation of copper ornaments suggests that copper may not have been as scarce of once believed, and the community had access to sufficient quantities of the metal, possibly through trade or extraction from chalcopyrite. Archaeologist H. D. Sankalia interpreted large number of copper objects as a sign of wealth, suggesting that the Kayatha community was materially prosperous, on par with or even comparable to Harappan society in its affluence. Beads, necklace and semi-precious stone jewelry. The spectacular necklace made of 173 and 160 beads respectively were found inside red painted buffware pot. These beads were crafted from semi-precious stone like carnelian, agate and faceted crystal, shaped into long barrels, bicons and oblates and struck on thread, showcasing a high degree of artistic craftsmanship. In another vessel, archaeologists discovered approximately 40,000 microbeads made of statite, further suggesting that bead making was a highly developed craft in the Kayatha culture and that such ornamentation played an important role in personal adornment or ritual usage. Now, stone artifacts. The Kayatha culture displayed a well developed lithic industry, predominantly utilizing locally available siliceous stones such as fine grained chalcedony. The black flake tools comprise parallel side blade, penknife blade, point, lunate with blunt back and scraper, trapeze of chalcedony, etc. These reflect a community of microlith tradition found across late Chalcolithic culture of central India and the Deccan. Among the noteworthy lithic artifacts is an oblong ring stone with smoothly rounded corners indicates considerable skill in stone working technique. Now, the terracotta artifacts. One of the most culturally unique findings at Kayatha is the exceptionally large number and variety of terracotta bowls. No other Chalcolithic site in India has yielded such a wide collection of bull figurine. These artifacts suggest the existence of symbolic or religious practice. It has been assumed that these bull may be linked to the worship of Shiva, or for whom the bull Nandi is a sacred symbol. Thus, these terracotta pieces are not merely artistic, but also represent spiritual beliefs and early religious expression within the community. Now, spatial context of artifacts discovery. All of the above artifacts, including copper axe, bangle and bead necklace, were discovered within a confined area, likely part of a dwelling. The clustered arrangement of high value items suggests the occupants fled suddenly, possibly due to natural disaster or hostile invasion. The sudden abandon of such treasured item underscores both the value attributed to these artifacts and the unexpectedness of the event that forced their desertion. Now, agriculture and domestication. A maize head or ring stone possibly used for agricultural purpose such as turning soil was also found among the artifacts. Though relatively few domestic tools were recovered, the presence of archaeological equipment alongside household ornaments and jewelry implies a settled lifestyle with integrated economic and domestic activity. These artifacts give insight into daily life, agrarian practice and the utilitarian need of the Kayatha inhabitants. So, on the basis of this conclusion remark, we can understand the Kayatha is very important Chalcolithic culture, and it shows different type of advanced pottery culture. The making practices was very different, comb where different kinds of geometrical, non-geometrical design present on their pottery. They are completely made on speedy wheel made pottery was used by the Kayatha people, as well as different kinds of beads were present like carnelian, agate and statite beads, the necklace of statite beads. These whole practice involve that these Kayatha people were completely engaged their lifestyle in a proper management way, and they knew how the different agricultural practices, they know about the different metallurgical aspect, they know about the different use of different precious stone as well. Their home strategy, their settlement pattern is also discussed in this lecture. So, if you want to enhance your knowledge in this particular topic, you can consult these references which is present on the screen right now. You can consult these references regarding this topic, and thank you very much for your patient listening. Namaskar.